Welcome back to Made to Rise. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about how I wrote my first book. I'm going to go through the steps of what I did, how I even started to begin with, and the struggles that I've had to go through when even starting down this process to write this book. Now, I think I have to preface this by saying I was diagnosed with adult ADHD a couple years back. And really, I didn't let that hold me back. That was actually something that really gave me clarity on how to move forward. And I had tried the medications, I had tried, a bunch of different things. And there were some things that kind of worked and some things that didn't. And that's fine. As you go through these processes, you're gonna figure out there's some things that work for you and there's some things that don't work for you. But what I want to highlight in this video is how I got started with this one. So the first start is, how did I even come up with writing a book? To be fair, this is something that I have kind of worked on for a very long time. I've tried to write books several times over, probably 3 or 4 times, maybe more than that at this point, and nothing really solidified for me enough to really write that book. The way that I started the process was I took a week off from work, and during that week of work, I did, not to say I didn't do anything but I dedicated anywhere between 2 to 4 hours a day on writing this book. Now, I want to say that this book, it's not long. This is, I don't know, probably, I think in total, it's got 70 pages. And that's in total, including like all what you would consider like the filler pages and all that. It's about 70 pages. It's about 60 something of actual content. So this book is thin. It's very small, but that's okay. And let me say, this is a proof copy, and that's something else that I'll go through at a later date. But that's how I even got started with writing this. Now, how did I come up with the idea to write this kind of book? Well, I started off with, hey, I'm going to sit down and just write something and figure something out. And along with, of course, prayer and asking God what I need to write about, I ended up coming up with the idea that what I should write about is my struggles. And that came along with my wife and I kind of went through something a couple years back. Probably keep that personal, but I was trying to figure out, like, how do I tell my story alongside her story? Because like, it affected her mostly, but as the spouse, it affected me as well. And I ended up coming up with this idea that my first book should be about the beginnings of my struggles, what I noticed, what I realized, what I felt. And kind of when this process started for me was I was actually deployed in the Middle East, and not the book process, but the process that the book is going over. But I want to say one thing about this book is so much not about me. It is so much not about me. It is about helping out the people who struggled with the same things that I struggle with. So once I prayed and I figured out what my topic should be, I just started writing. I didn't think too hard about it. I didn't try to plan it out, which was things that I did before. And I noticed some people who they get an outline and everything really works. And I also think that's good for fiction, or maybe if you're like a biography or something like that, that's probably the best case scenario. But for this kind of book, it was completely off the cuff. Really nothing was planned other than what the names of the chapters maybe. But even then, like, it was like very like, hey, let me just get this and write it out and start my process. So the next part of my process was, okay, once I've written this book and everything is complete and done, where do I go from there? Well, of course, the next step is either, I was going to say self-audit, but self-editing, or you can pay somebody to edit. Now, I know not everybody has the ability to be able to do something like that. Not everybody can pay for an editor, but that's what I ended up doing. I did it a little bit by myself, but the reason I even wrote this book was because I know me, right? I know myself. I know what I do and I don't like. I know what I can and I can't pay attention to. And that's what this book was really about, just figuring out what you can and can't do. And for me, one of those things was the editing process. I didn't even want to be a part of it really until somebody else's eyes had been on it. And that's what I did. I paid somebody to come through and do, just a good once over. And then if there was any additions I could add, which I did end up hiring somebody from Upwork. Her name was Kezia, I think is how you pronounce it. She was really good. Definitely recommend her. But she went through and edited and gave me some tips. And then from there, I changed a few things, sent it back. She said it looked good. And then after that, I ended up sending it to another editor. Now, this editor is more of a formatter and just kind of like making sure things flowed really well within the book. And that's what the second editor did. Now, the second editor took a lot longer. I think the original editor took maybe 2, 3 weeks, maybe a month. The next editor, man, and this is nothing from her. Like, I'm not saying she did bad. It was a lot. There was a lot that had to go into that second editing process, formatting and making sure things looked right and flowed well. And that process probably took about 3.5 to 4 months. And alongside that, I also did the cover. So the cover of the book, the front and the back, the illustrator for that, she did everything. She did a phenomenal job. I think it was absolutely fantastic. I still love this emblem. Yeah, she did a fantastic job. If you look on the front of the book, if I can get it close and actually get a good look at it, I'll probably just put a picture of it up. There's a guy, and again, this is the proof copy. There's a guy who's in the water and he's trying to get back up to the ship, which signifies, as someone with ADHD, you're in the water. Sometimes you feel like you're drowning and you're just trying to get that ship. And that's what this book is supposed to be, to make you feel like, on the back of the book, make you feel like you can sail again. And I'm so sorry about the lighting, but anyway, there's the guy on the back and he actually made it in the ship and he's like waving and he's happy and everything. I loved it. But to keep it simple, that's the process. I took a week off from work. I focused on that. I wrote it, sent it to the editor. She corrected some language, some spelling, some, bunch of different things. And then from there, I sent it to the next editor. And then after that editor, it took a while. And then the illustrator, and once the cover and stuff was done, I went through the whole KDP process. That's a whole different video, but I just wanted to talk about that. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. It's already 10 minutes, sorry, or it might be less for you guys once it's edited. But yeah, that's it for this process. If you want to join, I am going to be talking a little bit deeper about the process and like how to hire somebody, how you get somebody for, different type of editors that you want, how to find your illustrator or the person to make your book cover, how thick your first book should be, whatever. And also I'm going to be talking about self-publishing, if you should self-publish or if you should go with a traditional publisher, and what I ended up doing. I'm going to talk about all of that in the next couple of videos. So hope you guys join. Hope you guys appreciate the video. Again, I'm going to be talking about a lot going forward. So hopefully you enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've written a book. What's your first book that you've ever written? I do have gotten back into reading, so I do want to read a little bit more. Less fantasy, more of like business type books is what I'm kind of getting into. I'll still read fantasy as long as it's clean. As long as I am a Christian, so as long as it's clean, then we're good. But yeah, see y'all in the next one. Peace.